All right, we're back here on SportsLine. We're going to get to some football conversation coming up, but did you hear this one? A Nashville Predators fan, Andrew Fudge, during the Stanley Cup Final, entered a Twitter contest put on by the Predators. They were doing these things twice daily, promotions where you'd take a picture, you'd send it in on social media, on Twitter, and they would pick out people in a random drawing and give them tickets to playoff games. So Fudge did just that. He went and took a picture, sent it in with the caption, "Let's do this," to the Preds. And he won. He won tickets for Game 6. The Predators sent him a message, said, "Congratulations, you've won 2 tickets for the Stanley Cup Final, Game 6 tomorrow night. You can pick them up." All the info they needed to have. Everything. The problem is, Fudge is not a very avid Twitter user, you would say. And so, he did not check his Twitter account until today. Opened up the Twitter, saw the message from the Preds, "Congratulations, you've won 2 tickets to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final." And you can only imagine his reaction. He later tweeted, I think his first tweet since, "I hardly ever check Twitter and just saw this. I think my soul just died." Ouch. That is a tough blow. Perhaps the only silver lining is the fact that his team lost. The Predators lost in Game 6. So at least he was perhaps spared the indignity of having to watch another team hoist the Stanley Cup on the Bridgestone Arena ice against his team. But it was the opportunity to go to a Stanley Cup Final game, to cheer on your Predators. 2 tickets free from the Predators in a competition, a contest that he won, and he didn't check his Twitter for over a month. He won. He just lost out. Whew. That, my friends, is brutal. So Andrew, if you're out there, I feel sorry for you, buddy, because that is a tough tale. I hope for Andrew's sake that perhaps the Preds can hear this story and maybe reach out to him and try to do something. There's no way to ever recreate 2 tickets to the Stanley Cup Final, but perhaps they can get him a little swag or get him a couple tickets to a regular season game or something like that, because from what I've heard today about Andrew, he's a big Predators fan. And so this opportunity would have been absolutely enormous, and to learn about it in this way and sort of watch as if somebody burned the 2 tickets in front of you, so to speak, just had to be painful. So Andrew, I hope it works out. I hope you get something out of this, because that is a story that, well, I think you laughed about it a little bit today, and we're all now kind of laughing with you. Very, very hard story when you're talking about your team in the Stanley Cup Final and an opportunity lost to potentially go see them. Phone lines are open. 737-7767 is the number. Feel free to call in, join in on the conversation tonight if you would like. We'll get to some football conversation as well. Tennessee State head coach Rod Reed getting set for Overseas Media Days next week. He stopped by our studio last night on the Electric Power Company's Sunday Sports Central to sit down with John Burton to talk about the 2017 edition of the Big BlueTSU Tigers.
And we are very pleased to be joined in studio by the head coach of the Big Blue Tigers, my man, Rod Reed. Coach, great to see you. How's your summer been?
It's been adventurous, I can say that. I've been doing a lot of traveling, with my son and my daughter with sports and things of that nature. But it's been fun. It always wears you out a little bit, but it's getting close to that time there where it's time to kind of zero in on the football season.
You can't tell by the hot weather outside, but we got OVC Media Days coming up for you soon. You ready to answer all the Q&A about your football team coming up?
Yeah, I mean, coming off the season that we had last year, there's a lot of expectation. We got a lot of guys coming back. We're expecting a lot of ourselves. Our players are expecting a lot of themselves, so we put all that together. Hopefully that means a really good season.
Yeah, you mentioned it, 7-4 last year, 4-3 in the OVC. Overall, did you get what you needed out of your team during the offseason?
We did. Man, Coach Greenstone and his staff, my strength coach, they did an excellent job with our guys in the offseason. Matter of fact, there were 40 or 50 guys that didn't even go home this entire year. Some of those guys have been up here since May, June, and going into the July months. They took a couple of days off after the 4th or before the 4th. And so that was encouraging to see those guys like Chris Collins, Patrick Smith, all those guys out there working and leading those guys. So now, this month we should have close to, right now we've probably got about 65 guys, 70 guys over there working out. So we're really pleased about that.
Coach, one of the games that stood out for me last year, I know it didn't go your way, but it was the Vanderbilt game. You guys went into West End. You gave the Commodores a tough time. You had the lead in the first quarter. Couple of plays here or there, that could have been a different result. What did that game do for your confidence as a football team, you think?
Well, it let our players know that, we belong. We went into that game thinking that if we could take it deep into the fourth quarter, we could give ourselves an opportunity to win it. And, it being an SEC opponent, you always have your doubts, going in. How are we going to match up? But our kids, they went in there and they went toe-to-toe with them early on. And I think that it had not been for a couple of inopportune turnovers there, we were driving there right before the half, and Butler got swiped from behind, and we were in the red zone there. And, Newbold, I think, a ball went off his hands and it was picked off. And you can't turn the ball over against good football teams and expect to win, especially a team of an SEC caliber. So, we learned from those mistakes. But, I think they kind of figured out in the second half that they were an SEC football team and put like 3 or 4 tight ends in the game. And we just ran out of linemen. But it was fun to go over. Coach Mason's done an excellent job with that program over there. And, we'll see him again next year. So we'll see what happens.
We're looking forward to that, and we're also looking forward to seeing who emerges as your starting quarterback this year. O'Shea Ackerman-Carter has moved on. Treon Harris, the kid from Florida, the transfer, he's going to be probably in the mix, I would guess. Are you ready to name Treon Harris as your starter, or are you going to have a competition?
Well, not just yet. Michael Hughes has had an excellent summer. He's done some really good things, dropped a lot of weight. He's been in the coach's office, watching a lot of film. And Treon, he's been home. He had some family issues that he had to take care of. He just returned a couple of days ago, so we're excited to have him back in the fold right now. But, it's going to be a competition. We're going to see who comes out. But, coming out of the spring, Treon had done some good things, but he missed a lot of practice with a pink eye and some kind of eye infection. So Mike got some very valuable reps there. So we'll see how it shakes out in fall camp.
Well, whoever the quarterback is, he's going to have some talented receivers to throw to. Patrick Smith, 61 catches last year, almost 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Stephen Newbold, 41 catches last year. What do you expect from your passing game this year?
Well, first of all, we got to protect the passer, and we got a lot of guys coming back on the offensive line. We lost Jess Dunker and we lost Kevin Kenton, but Ty Allen played a lot last year for us, a junior college transfer, who will be a senior this year. And Jamal Jelks stepped in the latter half of the season and started the last 5 games as a true freshman at the other guard. And, Chidi Okeke transferred in from LSU. He'll help us out at tackle. Justin Brooks, Latavia Simmons. Got a lot of guys along that front, so we feel pretty good about that. But, with Patrick and Newbold, Chris Rowland, Devon Johnson is a kid that you really don't know about, kid that transferred and set out last year from Alabama. And then we got a really good core of receivers. So we have the ability to be really explosive this year, but it all has to come together. You got to be able to run the football. And I think Sabree Curtis, Earl Harrison, Andrew Knox and those guys will do a really good job in the backfield for us. So it all has to come together, and everybody has to play their part. But if we're able to run the football game, our passing game will be really explosive.
On the other side of the ball, your team averaged 32 points a game on offense, but you gave up a little over 30 per contest. What has to change this year defensively?
Well, we got to be able to stop the run better. You know, the latter half of the season last year, we didn't play very well against the run nor the pass. So we made some changes on the defensive side of the ball. Gary Fisher comes in from Western Illinois. He was at Eastern Kentucky for a long time down there with Dean Hood, and he's done a really good job of getting our kids interested in playing defense again. And I think that they're really excited about the new systems and some of the things that we're going to be doing, and had a really good spring. So we're excited with guys like Ebo, Chris Collins, Michael Parrish dropped a lot of weight in the middle, and he played a lot last year as a true freshman. Terrence Summers, Jason Morrow up front, Dale Porter at another defensive end out there. And we signed a kid, Lorenzo Davis, out of a junior college out in California, will give us some length on the edge and some pass rushing ability. So we're excited. I think it's going to be a fun camp. It's going to be a lot of competition in camp, and that's the thing you look for. When you can get guys competing against each other, you know, they bring out the best of each other, and that's what we're looking for on both sides of the ball this year.
How about the schedule? You open on the road this season, August 31st at Georgia State. Then the annual John Merritt Classic won't be until the end of September, and it's a conference game against Eastern Illinois. What stands out about this year's schedule?
Well, you know, we the first game is normally the John Merritt Classic, but we had an opportunity to play an FBS opponent, and get back in Atlanta, which is a big recruiting area for us. And I think our Big Blue Nation, they're going to show up, and it's going to be a heck of a game. We kick off that game on Thursday night on August 31st, and you know, Georgia State is an upcoming program, and you know, we'll have an opportunity if we go down there with our A game. And just like I always say, you know, you get that thing in the fourth quarter against an FBS opponent, who knows what will happen. So you know, we start that, and then we go to Southern Heritage Classic in Memphis that everybody loves.
That's a big one.
And Jackson State, Coach Hughes has done a heck of a job of trying to build that program back, and I know they're going to be hungry. I think we've won the last 5 or 6, so we can't go in there just thinking because we're going to show up, we're going to win a football game. They're going to be really hungry to knock us off. They have a TSU alum, Chad Germany, who's the offensive coordinator there, and I know this game will mean a lot to him, and you know, that's exciting. And then we fly down to Tampa and play Florida A&M in the Tampa Classic.
Be nice and warm down there.
Yeah, it'll be nice and warm down there. That's a game. Hopefully that'll get some inroads of us getting that series back going again. So we're excited about the first half of the schedule. Then we got to come back and start conference play with UT Martin, and I do believe that's an ESPN3 game. Yeah. So you know, we're excited about that. And Martin always, Coach Simpson always had those guys ready to go. They're probably one of the more consistent programs year in and year out in the conference, and they're very well coached, and we know that we've got to come out of that first half of the season looking really good.
Tennessee State head football coach Rod Reed, you're still one of my favorite guys, even though you love to give me a hard time all the time. But
you my main man.
I know you wouldn't pick on me if you didn't like me, and likewise as well. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue indeed. 2 guys there that like to pick on each other, and they do it well. 2 guys that have big smiles and have a lot of fun with it. It was good to see Rod Reed in the studio last night. We got to take a break. We'll have more football talk on the way. Coming up, a little check-in at SEC Media Days when we return on SportsLine here on News Channel 5+.